Hello, seventh graders. This recording should help you figure out how to do pages 6 and 7 in the Unit 3 Toward Independence packet. So what you're going to need for this assignment is the event readings packet that you can see on the screen now. You're also going to need your Unit 3 packet that looks like this, except we'll be on page 6. And we're going to do the first row of this graphic organizer together, and then you'll do the rest on your own. The first thing you should do is read about each event on the graphic organizer. So we'll start with the Proclamation of 1763. The British government faced a number of problems after the French and Indian War. One was how to keep colonists and Native Americans from fighting each other as settlers pushed westward. No problem, said King George III. Simply draw a line down the crest of the Appalachian Mountains. Tell settlers to stay east of that and Native Americans to stay west of it. That was what the king ordered in his proclamation of 1763. To Americans, the king's order suggested tyranny or the unfair use of government power. Colonists thought that because they helped win the land from the French in the French and Indian War, they should be able to settle there. They also argued that lands east of the Appalachians were already mostly settled. The only place that farmers could find new lands was west of the mountains. Besides, the proclamation was too late. Settlers were already crossing the mountains. The British government ignored these arguments. To keep the peace on the frontier, it decided to expand the British Army in America to 7,500 men. So we've got three things to fill in on this graphic organizer. A summary of what happened, who has responsibility for this event, and how the event caused conflict. So we're going to start with what happened. So basically, the Proclamation of 1763 was a law that forbid colonists from moving west of the Appalachian Mountains. And the purpose of this law was to stop Native Americans and English colonists from getting into fights over this land. They had just fought the French and Indian War, and the British had won. But if the Native Americans were fighting with the English colonists about land, the French might come in to defend the Indians, and then the British would have to come in to defend the colonists, and the war could start all over again. So they're trying to stop these fights. And the colonists just ignored this law, and they moved west anyway. The Proclamation of 1763 was a law passed by Parliament and supported by the King. So it's the British acting first, so the responsibility for this event is the British. I would say if it has an act or law in it, it's probably a British action, and if it's some kind of protest, it's probably the colonists' responsibility. So then we're going to go to explain how this caused conflict in the colonies. So we have to kind of see the colonist perspective here. So the colonists thought this law was an abuse of power by the king. Many had already moved west. So this seemed unfair to have them have to move back east and give up their land. And from the British perspective, they're going to enforce this law. So the British moved more troops into the western land. So anytime we're going to see an increase in the number of British soldiers in the 13 colonies, the more conflict there's going to be. So you're going to continue reading about each event until you get through this graphic organizer on pages 6 and 7. Thanks for listening.